So Rob, thanks for having me today.
No worries, Cam.
You're feeling a bit crook, I hear.
Yeah, I've just got back from an event in summer in California. It was beautiful, Terry, California. Had a great time.
What were you doing there?
Unfortunately, doing neutral race support, riding a motorbike around
right.
on closed roads. It's work, right? It's really tough. But they were long days, 200k stages, 3-4 days in a row. It was pretty tough. Even though you're sitting on a motorbike, your eyes and ears are everywhere. It's quite a tough gig. So I love it. I enjoy it, but it's also good to get back to some normality and getting to sleep in your own bed and instead of a different hotel every night. So,
for sure.
Yeah, so I'm back. Unfortunately, I've got a bug on the flight.
Yeah.
Thanks, United.
Yeah. So we've got SRAM, Force and Red AXS here. And we're going to talk about the fundamental differences between both group sets. But I'm keen to understand, like, why did SRAM in the first instance develop AXS? What was the motivation behind that?
I think you've got to go back some years to why we developed eTap. And the
2015, was that launched?
That's about right.
Yeah.
2015, we came out with SRAM eTap, and eTap was the first anywhere in the world of a wireless shifting model. So we developed that and we came up with our own systems, our own protocol. You know, it comes up with area. People call it Bluetooth. It's not. It's its own operating system. It's actually really hard to find. You can't even find it with a phone or an app or anything like that. It's quite difficult to find the transmitting signals between the shifters and the rear derailleurs, and it's a little bit complicated and certainly above my pay grade. So we developed that, and that was a great group set. You know, it was a big step forward, but when we developed that some 6-7 years ago, when we were in development and testing and all the rest of it, we knew we could do better. But we brought it to market, we were very happy with it, but the fundamental problem from our point of view is it was wireless and it talked together itself, but it didn't talk outwards.
Right.
AXS is access all areas. So it looks like AXS, but it's access all areas. So it means it'll talk to other components, it'll talk to your phone, it'll talk to other things, and you never know what's going to happen in the future. There's going to be more parts it's talking to.
So the old eTap didn't have an app, did it? But the new one does.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you know,
what does the new app do?
Came with a dongle, and we were going to do some upgrades to it. We found out we didn't need it to, or whatever, because we had this in our back pocket. So if you think about, let's talk about phones back 7 or 8 years ago. You might have had an iPhone 3 or 4. Yeah. It might have had Bluetooth. It might have had Wi-Fi. You know, and it was pretty sporadic. I don't think you'd be able to run a new application on the old iPhone 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah. You know, we progressed, and circuit boards and everything has progressed so much more in the last 7 years. Now we can get the system better, it works better, shifts faster, everything's better with the new system. So rather than developing the old system, we decided to put a line in the sand and let's look at everything what we did with not only Red 22 mechanical, with AXS 11 speed, and bring it to a new speed, which is now the industry standard. It's 12 speed, as we've got in mountain biking, we've had for many, many years. I believe Campag's 12 speed as well. Yeah. And we've done that, and we've been able to achieve a lot of different things, from straight block cassettes to we've been able to use clutches, so riders can choose how they want to ride, how they want to set it up. They can choose 1x or 2x. In the past, you had to go and, you know, choose a dedicated 1x group set or a dedicated 2x. Now, we're kind of cross-pollinating this thing. In fact, this group set will work with mountain bike parts as well. It'll work with a mountain bike rear derailleur. It'll all talk together, and that's the beauty of it.
So you said it's smoother and it's faster and it's quieter. Why? What are some of the key elements?
Engineering. I mean, there's many hours and many. It's a lot of money, a lot of development's gone into this. I don't live on that development team. I'm actually on the product test team. Yeah. And right from the first time I've seen this, some 12 months ago, I got to ride it secretly at dark, you know, riding around Melbourne Trail. It was noticeably quiet. It shifted unbelievably smooth. Yeah. I personally didn't have a problem with the 11-speed eTap. It worked great. But the 12-speed is a whole new generation. Yeah. It is, everything's about it. So we've looked at the front shifting, to front ring technology, to the chain technology, to everything. Yeah, we've got the chain here. We can break that down as we go along. Yeah. But every single part of this group set has been looked at, has been dissected. We've taken advice from everywhere. You know, like, oh, we're looking for this in a group set. You know, whether it's an OEM manufacturer or a team, or who we're working with, media outlets or whatever, they're all, you know, putting the things. So we've put all the ideas together and come up with AXS. And not only have we come up with AXS, we've got 2 group sets in road right now.
Yeah, okay. So why 12 speed? Like, you know, that's one of the key fundamental differences.
Well, we can get more from 12 speed than we can get with 11 because we can go down to a 10 tooth now. So just like we did with mountain biking, where we have the Eagle system that runs down to a 10 tooth, that goes up to a 10 to 50, gives you 500% range. So we can start off at a 10 speed, a 10 tooth cog at the rear, not 10 speed, 10 tooth cog at the rear, and then we can go give you 3 different cog ratios. 28 right now, 26, 28, 10 to 26, 10 to 28, and 10 to 33.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got 3 different cog combinations, depending what you live, depending where you are. If you live down Beach Road, you might not need a 33.
Yep.
You know, if you live in the hills like myself, I like the 33 because it gives me the option of the bailout gear as well.
So before we talk about the differences between Force and Red, there's a lot of synergies, isn't there, between the two group sets?
There are. I mean, it shares all the same electronics, the same batteries, the same basic hardware. Where we've been able to get the cost down is the end use of materials, and we've been very smart with that. You know, where previously we would use a carbon cage on both sides of the red rear derailleur. For example, the Force one would use an aluminium inner cage and a carbon one on the outer cage, and just a little bit less expensive finish as well. And it would come with some different hardware and stuff. So we'd be able to save a little bit more money on that.
So what's the weight difference between those two?
Oh, we can check that real quick. We're not really set there. So this one here normally comes up around 220.
220. So what's that, the Force?
That's the red.
Oh, that's a red, sorry.
And then we'll go to Force now. And we're looking at 240. So it's about 20 grams more.
Yeah.
And that's a significant price difference. But there's a weight difference and an advantage just on the rear.
Yeah. Okay. But that goes. There you go. Yeah. But that goes across into other components, right? So
absolutely. The cassette, for example. So this is made out of one-piece billet stainless steel. The final cog is an aluminium clipped-on part, but that's one piece. That's about a 24-hour process in the machining of that. A lot of work.
Why is it 24-hour process?
Because the machining, to machine, it starts its life off as about a 3-kilo block of billet stainless steel, and it comes out like that.
Wow.
A lot of work, a lot of checking, a lot of measuring to get a product.
So how much does that weigh now?
140 grams.
740. And
then,
how's that one
for example, this is the Force. So this is made out of individual steel technology chain ring. So you can see it's a pin technology, and there's a lot less machining involved in all this sort of stuff. But you also pick up a bit of weight.
When you say it's a pin technology, what do you mean by that?
Well, as opposed to the cogs being all held together by one piece of stainless steel.
Is that right?
These are all separate. I don't think this scale's bang on at the minute. So that's coming up with 2.
What was the previous?
140.
140. I thought it said 740.
No. 140 to 2. So there's a 60 gram.
60 gram difference.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Just difference in that.
Just in that.
So as you can see, there's little pins holding all this together to stop the flex and keep it all together.
Yeah.
And there's little pins in there. This one doesn't have any of that. It's all one piece.
Yeah. Okay. So which one would be more? Does that make it more durable? Because a lot of people talk about, I know in the Shimano world, Ultegros are being a lot more durable than Dura-Ace because it's,
they're both made of steel. I don't know which steel's better. I personally don't have much of a problem with real cassettes. I think that comes down to how you maintain your chain, how you clean your bike, what lubes you use, where you ride, all the rest of it. So I don't know the exact numbers on wear and tear on that, but I think they'd be pretty close to being the same.
Yeah, okay.
And we've worked hard on that.
Yeah. So what about the similarities? Like the chain is the same, is it?
No, the chain is completely different.
Oh, the chain is different as well?
Yeah, the chain is different. So this would be a Force one, so it's not hollow. So that the red one would have hollow pins. This one doesn't have a hollow pin.
Right. What does a hollow pin do?
The hollow pin just gives you a little bit less weight. I'm not sure. It's definitely not a strength disadvantage, but it gives you a lot less weight, and there's a lot more machining process than that. Yeah, but as you can see, going to 12 speed, I think if you believe all the online people, they're going to say, oh, the chain's going to be weaker. This is actually the strongest road chain we've ever made. Now,
how do you know that?
We know that because we make all our chains in-house. So remember the old Saxedes chains from back in the 80s? That's this chain. That's effectively the same factory in Portugal. This is the SRAM chain. So a chain is a very strong part if you pull it straight on. Like if you're doing this, pulling it straight on, it's a very strong part.
Yeah.
But the moment you start cross-chaining, like we're asking them to do on road bikes, you start doing that, that's where you start to get the problems.
Yeah, right.
So now we're going to 12, it's wider, we're effectively cross-chaining more, but with this chain, it's so much stronger. And what we've had to do is put extra, we've taken material out to make it 12 speed, but now we're making it stronger by putting material back into the top of the chain. That's where it gets its nickname flat top.
Right.
So the other part we do is we have 100% join link. So it's the SRAM power lock. That's a 12 speed joining link. And that is 100% as strong as anything else in the chain. So when you put that on, it's a once use item only.
Right.
And you put that on and it's as strong as the chain it'll be in any other point. It's not the weak point anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and we haven't had chain problems for a long time, touch wood.
Yep.
We're going very well. We control it, but what we ask people is if it's SRAM, keep it SRAM. Don't put any other brand on there because, there's some brands already running around saying it's AXS compatible. It's not true. SRAM is designed to work with SRAM and we've worked very hard to make this chain work.
So that impact the warranty though if people have you had any issues with the group set since they've been going out?
Absolutely nothing, no.
Right,
We've had some derailments, there's been some publicised ones with the Pro Tour riders and stuff, but there's a lot of things, a group set bolts onto a frame, right? And then it's running over rough roads and cobbles and all sorts of other stuff. So when you're nailing something to a building, the building better be straight, otherwise you're going to get problems. So we're not saying the frames are bad or anything like that, but we are not responsible for everything that goes on within a drivetrain. So we can control the shifts, we can control all that, but sometimes the rear derailleur could be a little bit flexy, or the front derailleur could be a little bit flexy. We can't control that. Depending on the frame, depending on the application, sometimes it depends who builds it as well.
Yeah, okay. And what do you got here? You were showing me this stuff before.
So with the crank systems, and this is another big fundamental part, the difference between red and force. So this is a one-piece operation. So this is, again, a CNC part, one piece, with a power meter incorporated.
Right.
So it's a really nice piece. And we're saying we're going to get double the use out of our previous chain rings with this system. It's stronger, better, double. Wow. We're saying it's more like double. Now, as long as, again, as you keep the chain clean and not over lube, not under lube, it's quite. But what we've done is we've actually increased the size of the diameter of the pickup points here or the grips. So these chain rollers, you'll find they're going to be bigger as well.
Right.
To suit with 12 speed,
they're going to be bigger even on a 12 speed system.
So it is.
Right.
So the gaps between the cassettes, these are actually bigger than on 11 speed. So 11 speed chain won't work on this.
Yeah, right.
So we've drawn a line in the sand, 11 speed to 11 speed, 12 speed is a new standard. In fact, our mountain bike chain will not even work on this. It has to be AXS road flat top that will work with this.
Right.
And it's all about making the system work together as one.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what we've done. So, yeah, the diameter is different. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah,
and as I said, the engineers that have worked with this is a really big team. They're global, and the way this is working and shifting, I'd urge you to get on and try it. It's so quiet and really, really good to ride.
Yeah, okay. And what about, so what's the difference here then?
So this is your traditional two-piece. So this has your bolts in there.
Yep.
We ask you not to change configuration because we're going 13-tooth jumps in the cassette in the chainring range.
Yep.
But what we've done is got new profiles again. This is the 2x system. And it's offering that 13-tooth jump, and we're saying keep that together, keep SRAM chain rings on it, it'll work amazingly. Again, it's not going to fit if you put an aftermarket chain ring on there with that chain.
Yeah, okay.
So if we just have a look over here real quick, here's the 1x system. Probably the next one here. You can see the teeth profile on the 1x. So that's a 1x aero ring, but look at the teeth profile on this. So this is called X-Sync 2.
What is it? Yep.
And this is designed to keep the chain on, as much as you can, and it's quite involved. Again, the machine process is quite involved with all this.
Yeah. So this is the first time you're also offering 1x on red, is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So why didn't you offer it before?
I don't think we had the range. I don't think it was for everyone. And we're not telling people to put 1x. A lot of the Pro Tour guys are choosing 1x now.
Yeah.
Like, I ride 1x on the gravel. I love it. I like it on some applications on the road. But the problem is with 1x, it's still not sure it's ready for 80 kilometres an hour. The rider that can do 80 kilometres an hour and 8 kilometres an hour on the same bike.
Yeah,
That's quite a variation to have that single step jump. So if you're riding Pro Tour races and you've got to go up the biggest berg and then you've got to do 80k an hour going to the other side, that's a tough range to get. So triathletes, for example, I think it's a great application. For crit riders, great application.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing the 8k an hour. You're not even doing less than 20k an hour.
Yeah.
You know, tell me a crit rider that rarely goes out of the big ring. Not that's got a big massive berg on it.
Yeah.
But generally you're not winning the race if you're going out of the big ring anyway. So there's some application 1x is absolutely fantastic for.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Crossover. Batteries are the same, chargers are the same, you know, all the other parts, handlebars, all the rest of it, it's all compatible. Excuse me?
The software system?
Software, so that's going to be app-based. So on your iOS or your Samsung phone or whatever you're using, you'll be able to download an app, and in there you'll be able to control basically everything on the shifting, and the application will help you to do other things. So
Force and Red will be the same though?
Yes, it's the same application, So you can load your bike, take a photo of your bike, and so you want to add shift blips on there, and you want to be able to do different things. For example, on the mountain bike side of it, which is also AXS compatible, I've changed my shifting to work the same on road. So you go harder gears on this hand to go down that way, softer gears on this one to go that way. I've set my mountain bike up the same. And I have an AXS seat post on there as well. So as I said, things are going to be starting to talk together. The AXS seat post is talking to the rear derailleur and to the shifters. So now a part of my shifter I can have as my dropper seat post, and then I can shift it. So I can set it any way I want to do it. It's really smart.
Yeah, okay.
And on our road shifters, so on red you have 2 ports on each side, so you can have shift logic up here with little blips, and you can have them on your TT bar or at the front if you wanted to sprint. Where Force, we are only offering you 2, so you can have them up here or there. You can't have it both applications.
Oh, okay, right. So there is kind of a lot of differences then.
There is kind of a lot of differences. As you dig into, you'll see.
It's not just weight.
No, it's not just weight. No. And the aesthetic. I mean, if people like the chrome blingy look, the red has got it. You know, the Force is more of a grey, stealthy look. I like the Force. I think it's great. You know, I've been riding it a long time. And I love it, and it matches a lot of bikes. So, it's personal preference.
The fundamental feel, quietness would be very like for like.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for your time.
Sorry, I'm dying here. I'll try and reduce my travel down for sure. So, but we're looking forward to, a great winter, with a lot of gravel riding in Melbourne and Australia, and gravel is definitely taking off. And this group set is working an absolute treat. You pick your front shifting. So we have 3 different front shifting. What do you call it? I'm trying to think of a word. What is it? Standards on the front.
Oh yeah.
And then you can run your 1x. So there's lots of things you can look at to choose it. And then the other thing we might notice as well, we might talk about, is dub. So everything on the new stuff is now dub, which means durable, universal bottom bracket. So it's not a new system. It's a solution to all the problems that are out there. So previously, bike shops, our distributors would have to carry GXP. They'd have to carry BB30, and then they'd have to have all the bottom brackets. Now dub fits on the majority of those bikes, and you just swap the bottom bracket out, which is a $30, $40 upgrade, and the bottom bracket is more durable. Everything's working better with dub.
You're right.
And it's a godsend for people that don't want to stock all these different types of cranks, and every time you buy a new bike, you've got to buy a new crank or whatever. Dub will work on the majority of bikes.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
It's exciting, yeah.
It is. All right. Thanks, Rob. Get some lemon tea into you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.